everyone. This is Lynn Serrano with Live, Love, Laugh, and Let Go Out Loud. And I am super excited about our guest today because she's an author and she's written some young children's book. And I even have like a preview of it. It's pretty exciting. But let me do a little intro video and then we'll be right back. Welcome, Stacy. I am so proud and honored to have you here today. I am super excited because this is the first time we're video chatting.
Yes,
so
yes. Thank you
we've been
so
able. Well, if you go ahead and just tell everybody a little bit about you, and they'll get to know you as we unfold this. So.
Okay, well, thank you. But my name is Stacy Padula, and I am the author of 2 young adult book series. One of them is called Montgomery Lake High, and it's young adult Christian fiction. And the other is called Gripped, and that is young adult fiction. And both book series address social issues that kids face in high school. So from substance abuse to bullying, the books are meant to prepare kids for the battles that they're going to face so that they can go into them well equipped with how to handle themselves, what to expect, just to go in pretty informed so that they can make better decisions. So it's always my hope in writing my books that kids will have an easier time getting through all of those social situations that can just be so tricky when you're navigating through even middle school, but definitely high school and then college and beyond.
That's super excited and so important. And I mean, gosh, I don't usually start out my show this way, but I can't help but, you know, I'm super excited about talking about you writing younger books for younger kids because we don't seem to have that many, people to have that we forget about the kids being molded as they grow up in adults. So I really think this is cool. So I'm going to ask you real quick, what got you into writing?
So it seems to have just been like so deeply ingrained in me since I was little. I wrote my first story, which was probably only like 10 pages long, but when I was 6 years old, I had literally learned how to read and string some words together. And I just wrote my parents a story about a dog. And then I just never stopped. So when I was entering, I was still in 8th grade actually, and I was given an assignment to do a health project on peer pressure. And since I had always loved to write, I was like, I'm going to write a book. So I was 13 at the time, and I wrote the first draft of the first book of my Montgomery Lake High series, The Right Person. And it was literally to answer a teacher's question, on what's the truth about the peer pressure that takes place, with teenagers. And I wrote it for that project. And then I fell so in love with the characters that I said, I'm going to continue writing this series. So then when I entered high school, I was shocked. I was just absolutely shocked by what I saw. I felt so unprepared. I had devoured books on the topic of high school when I was younger. I wanted to know what to expect. So I read everything, that was on the market. It was Sweet Valley High, it was the Babysitter's Club, it was all that. And when I got to high school, it was nothing like what those books had said. And I was stunned by just the amount of drugs and the amount of bullying and the rumors and the gossip and just how mean people were to each other. And I was like, this isn't right. Like, kids need realistic books to prepare them. So then I continued writing my series throughout high school so that it would be a legitimate experience of what kids went through. Even though it was fictional, I made up all the characters, I made up the town, everything. It was still based on real things, that I was witnessing. And then after college, I found those books that I had written. I had written 3 of them. And I said, you know what? I think these might be able to help some kids. Let me see if I can add in some bits of wisdom that I've learned along the way. Let's do some editing. I had to write a couple additional books to connect them so the story flowed right. And that is how my first book series, Montgomery Lake High, came together.
And then,
yeah.
and then what I I went ahead, I snoop on Facebook, right? If you're going to be on my show, I got to snoop, right? So
Mhm.
I went to your page and I found this preview. And you guys, I don't have that many viewers on here, but this preview is pretty stinking cool. So I want to play it right now. Wow. Wow, that is stinking cool. If you guys are watching this, do you not think that that was stinking cool? Because well, not stinking, but it was cool.
Thank
That
you.
is so awesome, girl. So where does that go from there? I mean, give us some juicy stuff. I mean, we're
So that's my second book series. So that's Gripped. So Gripped takes place in the same world as my original book series. Same characters, just different main characters in different time frame. So Gripped really follows the story of a college football player who is sort of like a hometown hero, just a really, really good kid. And unfortunately, after a grueling knee injury, he has two surgeries. He ends up being put on painkillers and he develops a painkiller addiction. And it is very much about his journey to recovery, but how it affects his relationships and the impact his addiction has on the people surrounding him. It's a very tricky situation. He's in danger, his family's in danger, so there's a lot of suspense there. But it's really meant to show how it can trickle down. So even though he's in college with younger siblings and cousins, in high school, the drugs trickle into the high school and it ends up affecting many people. So the book is very much about opiate addiction, but also benzo addiction and some other recreational drugs, and just really to through an entertaining and suspenseful story, still educate the readers on what these drugs are like, what they cause, what can happen, just so these kids, if they come face to face with them at parties, and I mean, they're around, I mean, they're definitely around,
unfortunately.
they'll know what to expect and what to avoid and how to make an informed decision about something that could ultimately change the trajectory of their entire life. So I feel
Wow.
that it's such a horrible epidemic right now in our
Mhm.
country, and it's so sad, and it happens to such wonderful people too, and that's such a hard, I think people can sometimes be like, oh, the drug addicts, and just like write them off, but it's like these are
Mhm.
people's friends, kids, siblings, I mean, people with bright futures, and you can end up gripped or ensnared, and that's not your intention, and everything that you've worked for your entire life can just fall to pieces. So it's I think really important to show how things fall apart, but also how you can put things back together. So Gripped
Awesome.
follows Taylor's whole journey. I'm currently writing the fifth Grip book right now,
Wow.
and yeah, I'm probably about halfway through that one. So that one's pretty action packed because I mean, there's a police case involved. There's a lot going on in that story.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you
And
for playing the preview. That was great.
oh my gosh, yeah, I'm glad I surprised you with it. Jerry says here, quite impressive. And yes, when I saw that, I'm like, oh no, I'm snatching that for the show because that's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good. So, I wanted to just have a little message here for you because, like I said, I had to do a quick study on you. I just got to know you as a friend because we have mutual friends. So,
Hi, Stacy. I am just so excited that you are getting to share with one of my favorite friends all the amazing things about your books and everything you have done to support young people, especially as they're getting ready for college, helping them with their mindset, letting them know what options are available to them. You are a gifted and talented writer, and I'm just so honored that I get a chance to work with you. And I can't wait for the rest of the world to read your books and know how much passion and pride you put into everything you write. You're just phenomenal, and it's a joy to see you be successful.
I
Oh,
couldn't help but
that was so
put that up.
sweet. Oh my God.
Surprise!
Oh, that was sweet. She recorded that. Thank you. Thank you.
Lynn's show, you never know what I'm going to do to make you feel special. My show is about live, love, laugh, and let go out loud. And what's so cool about that is I have the privilege of making sure that you know that I honor you. A few people that I know that you know honor you, and that it's important for you to. We should be honored while we're here. So, and the fact that you have this impact on entertaining, and I love entertainment. I I'm from the theater and arts and things like that. I mean, you entertain and educate is, it's really important. So I very much value you and appreciate you, and I always just love having my show be something different that you can treasure forever. So I hope you're gonna feel that way. So, what's the meaning does living your best life have for you personally?
For me personally, I think it's all about knowing yourself and knowing what your God given gifts and talents are and using them every single day. And
I
that,
love.
it's so fulfilling. I feel like when you are doing what you were born to do, there's no greater joy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I love you already. I really do. What do you love in your life other than your family? And remember, your dogs are your family. But, anyways, but
Yeah, can you hear Briley? He's behind me and he's
no,
crying.
don't.
Want to see him? I can grab
Yes,
him.
yes, yes.
I'll grab him. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. Come here. Come on. Oh, here's my boy.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna go from that question to let's do this. I'm gonna do this. You are a dog mom, and you are a loving dog mom, and I went to your Facebook and I made this for you.
Anybody got a prescription, yeah, for this love pain? Anybody got a pill like a pop for this love pain? Anybody got a prayer like a session for this love pain? Yeah, ooh, I need it for this love pain. Anybody got a prescription, yeah, for this love pain? Anybody got a pill like
I couldn't help but do.
that's awesome. That's so adorable. Thank you so much. That warms my heart. That is amazing because they are,
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
they are
When you
your babies. They
Oh,
are.
what I love in life. So my Briley is 15 years old. I have had him my entire
Oh,
adult life. He
oh,
Thank
girl.
you.
Every day is even more precious. That's just.
Mhm.
Hopefully, he can live another 15 years, but we just
Yeah,
know the
that's what I'm
inevitable.
hoping. He's very healthy. Our vet is awesome, and he says Briley has the blood work of a 3-year-old. So that makes me
Aw.
happy. But yeah, he's
Does he eat dog scraps and stuff?
no, I
I
have him
mean,
on a
foods.
really, really, really healthy diet. So he eats the Honest Kitchen, which is like freeze-dried human grade food, and I
Okay.
think it really helps keep him healthy. It's really gentle on his kidneys and liver. And my other dachshund, Baxter, who is in the other room with my husband, he has seizures, so I switched to the Honest Kitchen because it's really good for dogs that are epileptic. So
Hmm.
it's helped Baxter too. So
Oh, that's awesome. So, yeah. So, what do you love other than your family and your babies?
I love that I work with youth every single day. So I'm a college counselor by trade, and I also do, academic tutoring and test prep tutoring. But college counseling is my main role in academia. So I work with juniors and seniors in high school and their families on the entire college admissions process, and I absolutely love that because not only do I write books for teenagers, but I work with them every single day. So it helps me keep my books relevant. I'm able to have a team of interns. I have about 20 interns who work for my book series, and a lot of them are students of mine. And it's just amazing to get their feedback on the books and then to have them tell me stories about things they face. You know, a lot of them will get very close with me and open up with me. And I think it helps me keep my books very relevant to today's youth, you know, while getting to work with them as a college counselor, helping them through the process. I love seeing where they end up going to college. It's like so exciting when the acceptance letters start to roll in. And my company is South Shore College Consulting and Tutoring, and we just had a wonderful early action and early decision round. My students did phenomenally. I think through the entire thing, there was like 76 acceptance letters and only 3 rejections.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm so proud of them. They're just such bright minds. They work so hard, you know, to make that happen. And so I love my job. I love writing. Writing is my absolute favorite thing to do in the world. I just love just having to put myself in the shoes of every one of my characters and write about how they feel and how they think. I also love psychology, so I read up on psychology a lot. Personality types specifically, I find that fascinating. I'm just so inclined to read people, and I always want to understand where people are coming from and give them the benefit of the doubt. So studying psychology is just a hobby of mine. Other things I love God, my faith. So I'm a Christian, and my faith is literally the foundation of everything I do. And I love just the guidance I get from that, and the hope and the fulfillment in every aspect of my life. And then I love playing fantasy sports. I love math. I don't know. There's
Oh,
a
you
lot.
love a lot of things. You love a lot of
I
things.
do. I love life.
I love it. I love it. So, what things have you let go out loud, and basically, what are the things in your life that you went through that were vulnerable to you that you got out of your way so that you could be successful?
Oh, I think that there were a lot of social issues for me when I was in high school, and I think that that is probably why I'm so bent on writing these books for kids, because I don't want them to have to go through what I went through. So I think I learned a lot from not being informed and just entering this world that I was not prepared for. I think that kids, I think that there are a lot of cruel kids out there, and I think it is because they must have someone being cruel to them, right? I just don't think that's
Yeah.
human nature. It's not human nature to go out and want to make somebody miserable and be cruel to them. So of course, these people that are doing that, they have it, bad too, I'm sure. And
Mhm.
people who are kind and sweet tend to be easy targets. They're not gonna flashback. So, and my mom had always told me, she's like, just kill them with kindness, and that's what I did. But
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of jealousy out there, and just different things that can make people hate somebody that they don't even really know. And I didn't understand that, right? So when people are coming at you for all different things, things making up rumors about you and spreading lies about you, and they don't. It's because they're afraid, that my boyfriend must like her, and all these just
Mhm.
silly things. And you're like, what? Why are they saying these things about me? It always made me feel like, oh, well, there must be something wrong with me. What am I doing wrong? Or how should I act different? And I never realized that, no, it was more their issue, and that,
Mhm.
oh God, my mom was there to tell me, just keep being nice, just keeping you, because that's what I did, and in the end, I'm grateful because I can look back and know that I wasn't doing that to anybody.
Right.
But I think that was hard for me. I think it was hard for me to realize sometimes it has nothing to do with you, and everything
Yeah.
to do with other people. And um, to stop looking at myself like I was doing something wrong. I mean, some of these people, it was people who I didn't even personally know, and I felt like they were in my business all the time. And um, it was really hard. I just
Yeah.
personally wanted to kind of fade into the background and just do my own thing and not ever be a focal point of gossip or anything. And it just seemed, at my high school in particular, I just couldn't escape it. at all. And I feel very grateful to have graduated with wonderful best friends from there, who are still my best friends to today. And we all kind of stuck it out together, but it was not an easy place to grow up at all. And I just, I really hope that my books can help kids go in with the right mindset so they don't go through, what I went through. And I think that I was able to let go of my hurt and then use it for good.
Absolutely. I love that. I know that I my parents were not very good parents to raise us kids, so it was very, very difficult with just a lot of beatings and just verbal abuse and all that other stuff. But when I went to school, I used to just love on people and smile at them, and and now that I'm older, people are like, but Lynn, you went through a lot and yet you smile and whatever. And it's like, it's the alternative. You can either choose to be mad and that doesn't work good for you, or you can choose to be happy and that
Right.
feels good. So, it's definitely stuff that we do let go and go on. And so I've got another little surprise for you.
Stacy and I go way back. We actually are from the same town, but went to different elementary schools. And after I had a pretty sad, but not bad divorce, Stacy was the first person that I started talking to about it, and she really helped me through that. And most recently, we've reconnected because Stacy's incredible Briley and Baxter publications publishing company is actually publishing my new children's book. So it has been really great to get back in touch with her. She's an incredible person. She has so much light. She just wants the best for everybody. She has an incredible spirit, and she's a crazy manifestor, y'all. I mean, that girl, she decides what she wants, and before you know it, it's happening. And she is someone that inspires me so much. I think she's a fantastic person. She's a great dog mom. And I'm so glad that she is on the show today. Love you, Stace.
I love you too. That's so sweet. Oh my
Surprise!
God. Oh, and that's so funny. Yeah, because Amy and I went to high school together, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. She was there.
For sure, for sure. Well, so that brings me to my next question. What got you into publishing?
So it was interesting. So with my grip book series, I had started out thinking it was just going to be one book. And when I was on page 600, I realized there's no 600-page book that a teenager is going to read. This is not a book. This is a series. So I had the first 3 books basically written at that point. And I wanted my publisher. I had been working with a publishing company that was wonderful. They published my first 6 books, and they wanted my books to come out every 6 months. And I knew I had readers like anxiously waiting, because every book kind of ends on a cliffhanger. So they're like waiting for the next book. And I'm like, I don't want 6 months in between. I'll lose people's interest. I'd love these books to come out, maybe like 2 or 3 months apart. I mean, I remember being a reader and, I'd want the next book in the series. It would usually be like 1 month apart and I couldn't wait. So they would not budge. And at the time, I was also just starting to work with a producer out in Hollywood who is very interested in turning my grip book series into a TV show. So I wanted all those books out and published as soon as possible. I wanted all the IP. I just wanted everything set, before I had any further meetings. And even with that, my publisher was not budging. And, that's one of the downfalls of being traditionally published. You almost sign away your rights, right? Because they control when the books come out. They control a lot. So I sat there and I was like, okay, how do I start a publishing company, right? How can I make this easier for people and easier for me to get what I want done? So I started researching it, and I learned how to work with distributors and just how to go about everything that goes into it. And I already have the writing skills, and I have a degree in design. So for designing book covers and everything like that, I'm like, I can do this. So that's how Briley and Baxter Publications was started. That was in early 2019. So about
Is that your dog's names?
Yes, I named it after them.
I was like, those are cute names. I wonder if those are her
Yeah, this one's Briley and Baxter's the other one that's not here. But so I named it after them because they're always right by my side when I'm writing. And I opened it with the model of giving back to animal rescues, because Baxter is a rescue. So every month we give 10 to 20% of our proceeds, depending on the book. So hardcover books, it's 20%, paperbacks, it's 10%, and they go to a different animal rescue every month. And then I opened a store recently in November that donates 50% of its proceeds every month to animal rescues. And yeah, it was really to help raise money, for them, but also to promote the brand, of course, get the dogs' names out there, but definitely to raise money for a cause that I just really believe in. Baxter is a rescue, so he's sort of the inspiration behind that. And I have an amazing illustrator on staff, Maddie Moore, and she drew the most adorable little cartoon figures of Briley and Baxter, and they are for every holiday. Like there's the American flag one, there's the Christmas one, there's everything for dachshund lovers, basically dachshund or dog lovers. And recently we launched a sports line, so they're wearing all like the Boston sports stuff, and we have mugs and t-shirts and blankets and hats and sweatshirts and phone cases. I mean, all different things. And 50% of the proceeds of every single item goes to an animal rescue. So
I love that. I love that. So, what are the things that you love most about writing?
I just love being able to experience things. Like when I'm writing, I feel like I'm going through it. So it's like I just so empathize with my characters. I think that's the best part. I love just living my characters' experiences, enjoying the relationships they have. I love writing to see what happens next. So I don't outline my books. I don't plan anything in advance. I'm often, wondering, I'm like, oh, I wonder where this is going to go. I just write what I feel led to write. And I always pray before I write. I'm like, God, give me the words. And then I just start writing and the stories just come together. And a lot of times I won't even know why I write something, like why one character gives somebody a strange look. And then, 5 chapters later, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. It was because of this. I didn't even know that at the time. So
I love it.
Writing to discover the story, that's what keeps me coming back.
I love that.
It's fun.
So, what is it, the least thing you like about writing?
Oh gosh, coming up with a title.
Is it?
Oh, it's so hard. It's much easier for me to write an 80,000 word book than to sum it up in like 3 words. Yeah, coming up with a title or the back cover text. Oh my gosh. I have an amazing editor on staff, Mackenzie Wells, and I love her. And she is great at writing back cover text. So recently she wrote the back cover text for Grip 4 for me, because I'm like, you know what? You can sum this up better than me. I feel like I just know too much about the story and about the characters, and I can't sum it up,
You can't be biased. You can't be biased. You're like, it's just, yeah. I get that. So, because you're just so in the thick of it. So.
Oh yeah. So it helps so much. The staff I have for my publishing company have even help me with my own books, in a lot of ways, which is great. I mean, I hired them to help with all the other authors, we're working with, but it's just wonderful, to have their input too. It's great to have that team, and it makes the hard parts easier for sure.
Awesome. Okay, so now it's time for the pickle story.
So have you ever gotten yourself in a pickle? What kind of pickle would you say you got yourself into? That you learned the most valuable lesson ever.
Oh my gosh, the most valuable lesson ever.
From a pickle. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, all right. Well, here's a little light one, I guess we can go with. So when I started,
I want the juicy one. Come on now.
All right. Well, I'll tell this one, and then if you want another one, I'll.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This is my favorite parts.
When I started tutoring, I think I'd only been doing it for about a year or so, right after college, basically. And I was assigned to work with a young 11-year-old boy. And I remember getting that assignment and thinking, how am I going to connect with an 11-year-old boy? And we were supposed to work together. It was him actually and his brother. And I was going to be there about 20 hours a week at their house doing homework and everything with them. So this one little boy, Max, who ended up becoming like a little brother to me and being a groomsman in my wedding. That's how close we got. I've tutored him it's been like 10, 12 years, like something crazy like that now. He's in college, but Anyway, he did not want to do his homework. So they had a reptile room at their house. Now, I had a lifelong fear of snakes ever since I was little, like a phobia. Like if I saw a snake on like a package, just like a cartoon snake, I would have to like close my eyes and run away. Like that's how bad. So they had 28 snakes. So it's a mixture of carpet pythons and boa constrictors and yes, 28. So it was 3 boys, Nick, Harrison, and Max, and they all had their snakes. Max mostly had the little lizards and the geckos that were really cute, but Harrison and Nick had tons of snakes. So I made the deal with Max to get him to do his homework. I said, okay, if you get everything done by like 3 or 4 o'clock, whatever the deadline was, I will hold whatever snake you want me to hold. Okay. Oh my gosh, was that a motivator? Every single day I ended up having to get over my fear of snakes, this lifelong fear I had had, and that boy would get his homework done just so I would have to hold one of those snakes. So that was quite a pickle because I wasn't expecting, where was that motivation before, right? So yeah, there was a good year of that where every single day I got to hold a snake.
But let me ask, that's yeah, girl,
Yeah.
I had a story about a snake. I was sitting by a rock stand, I stood up with sandals and a dress and a rattlesnake between my legs. I'll tell you what, that was freaking scary.
Yeah.
But anyways, as far as the snake thing, did that really help you overcome that though?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I had to get used to it. And then I remember even when some of the snakes would die, we ended up having like little like reptile funerals for them and everything. And I mean, the thing with the snakes that I learned is if you handle them a lot, they actually can be very sweet. There were certain ones we never took out of the cage because they just never got to that point and you had to just leave them in. But there were certain ones. Harrison had a snake called Rocky, and he was blind, I guess, but he would just sit around Harrison's neck while he did homework and he'd just rest his little head on the table. And he was just like super sweet. And I was genuinely sad when he passed away. So I guess I learned that I love animals so much, even the ones I think I'm afraid of, I can bond with. And yeah, so, I mean, but that was a pickle because there I was like literally with a phobia and being like, okay, I have to keep my word, but hey, Max got his homework done. He did great. He's at Boston College now. Life is good. So
and was it the thing that he just loved that you were scared about it? Is that just made him enthralled to say, oh, I'm going to torture her with the snake? I mean, like, serious.
I think so. I mean, he was an 11-year-old boy at the time. Yeah, I guess that's, I think I somehow knew that would be what would get him to, because he is brilliant. I mean, he's one of the most intelligent people I have ever met. I mean, even at that age, like I was like, this kid is
that's
so
awesome.
gifted. I mean, he's an absolute genius. Like it blows my mind. So I'm like, you just need to apply that.
That's awesome.
Places like so yeah, that's how I got him to apply.
Yeah. And then you had another pickle story. I heard you say you had another pickle story. Go ahead and share.
Another
you love pickle stories.
So wait, so you want something you said like juicy or something?
Yeah, juicy. Go for it.
Oh my God.
You're a writer. You could say whatever. I just be creative. Go for it.
I know. What are some other examples that people have shared? And then I can kind of
No, just from being into dangerous situations to yeah, just it's awesome. It's it's just it's funny. Okay, let me ask you. No, I was going to ask you how you met your husband, but that wasn't probably no pickle story there. Was it a good story how you met him?
I mean, I'm happy to share that. So we were at an ugly sweater party. One of my friends at the time owned a sports bar in my town, and every Christmas they have an ugly sweater party. And I went there. I had this ugly sequins, like Boston Bruins, like blazer on, and I had antlers. And no, I wasn't expecting to, meet anyone. And even though there was tons of people there, I just was there for the party. And I love like Christmas festive stuff. And Tim was introduced to me, and it was funny though. We always joke about it because he asked if he could have my number, but at the time I was kind of seeing somebody else, so I was like, "No, I'm sorry. I just don't want to be disrespectful and give you my number, but it's nothing personal." And he was like, "Oh, okay," and he kind of walked away, and he was all sad. And then I had been invited to his birthday. Everybody was going out to dinner for his birthday. So one of his friends said, "Oh, you should come." And I couldn't make it. It was the day after Christmas. And so I sent Tim a message and I just said, hey, I'm really sorry. Happy birthday. I hope you have a great time. Because I didn't want him to feel, rejected or, anything like that. And he immediately asked me out again. He wrote back and said, well, can we get together? Can I take you out? And I was like really impressed by his persistence. Really impressed. And I had kind of stopped talking to the other person. So I was like, okay, sure. So we went out on our first date and then we never stopped. So kudos to Tim for being so persistent. I mean, he really impressed me there.
That's awesome. I love asking people how they met their spouse, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, so here we go. Can you recall a time in your life where you said, I would never do, that you ended up doing?
Well, hold a snake, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
But let's see, would never do, and then I ended up doing.
It's just because everyone says things that they're like so adamant they'll never do, and they end up doing it. And yeah, the snake would be one of those stories. So I mean,
I know I said I would never marry somebody who didn't ski. I know it sounds so stupid. I do it.
Let me guess. He doesn't ski, right?
Doesn't ski. It's so bad. So I used to spend every weekend up at Killington Mountain in Vermont skiing for the most part, like in my 20s, like every weekend. And it was just, yeah, it's I just fell in love with Tim and he doesn't ski. And I was like, how is that even possible? Like, we live in New England. Like, why weren't you skiing your whole life? Like, I was just kind of dumbfounded. So we took him on the mountain and then I realized why he doesn't ski. Yes. So Tim needs some lessons and we are going to plan a trip out to Colorado where there's nice powdery soft snow where he can learn. So that is in the cards. But I currently am married to a non-skier. So that is definitely something I thought I would never do.
Yeah, that is too cute. And that's my point exactly. People just don't realize sometimes they say things that just bring what they said. So,
yeah.
Exactly. So what are your big, hairy, audacious goals?
So, what's so funny about me? I don't really plan for my future except for whatever I have to do today to ensure things will be okay, and that. So ultimately, I don't really set goals. It sounds so funny because I've obviously done so many different things. And of course, I plan to finish writing Gripped 5, but I assume that I will continue running my college counseling company, that I will continue writing more and more books. I'm working on a new book series right now with NBA coach Brett Gunning, and we're writing a children's book series about basketball, but life principles that you can learn through the game of basketball. So that's going to be a 6-book series. So it's going to be published through Briley and Baxter Publications. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I'm super excited. Our first book should be coming out in about 2 months. So that would be a goal, I suppose. And then getting that Gripped TV show in the works.
That's awesome.
But these are things that are already kind of in the works. I try to stay in the day and not get ahead of myself. I figure if I'm doing every day, if I am doing what I'm meant to do, then I'm going to end up exactly where I'm supposed to be. So,
exactly. I love that. That is such great wisdom, and I'm so proud of you. I love you. I'm going to be excited to follow your career and to interview you quite a few times. I'll tell you that.
Awesome.
What's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
I'm a pretty spontaneous person, so I wish like my mom or one of my best friends was here because they could probably think of something like immediately. Most spontaneous thing.
What's the spontaneous thing you did through COVID?
Well, I started the Briley and Baxter store. So that was definitely spontaneous. I just on a whim said, hey, why don't I start a store that will raise money for animal rescues? So that was
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, that was definitely
awesome. So what makes a person beautiful to you?
When a person is authentic, when they're truly themselves and they celebrate who they are, I think that's absolutely beautiful. I think it's the most important thing is for people to find out who they are, what makes them tick, and just to be that person, So I think authenticity is incredibly important. Kindness, of course. So loving others unselfishly, being able to put the needs of others before your own. That is a beautiful trait that, very few people, I think, understand the value of. I don't think they realize how much they get back if they live that way, because it is so much more fulfilling to make other people happy than to try to make yourself happy. So, you know,
True.
I think it's beautiful when people can be that supportive of others and that giving of themselves, but not for like the praise of others, just because that's authentically them. You know, that's beautiful. My husband is like that. He is like, oh my gosh, he's just selfless. I mean, he really is, and I just absolutely love that about him.
Girl, you know, I know you very, very little, but from what I know, you are all those things and then more. So it's
Oh,
it's cool to know that you married somebody that reflects the same thing that you are. So I really love that. I really
thank
love that.
you.
You're welcome. So, what mistakes have you made along the way?
I think my lifelong mistake, I used to be too trusting of people. I'm a very open person. I'm very much like, this is who I am. If you don't like me for some reason, that's okay, but I'm going to be me, right? So I I think I was always very open with people who I thought were my friends, and I would just trust people too easily, and I would share personal information, and people would use that against me. You know, they would tell other people and gossip about it and blah 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 blah. And I think when I look back and realize things I could have done differently to maybe make my life easier, it would have been to not share so much, you know, with people. And it was always, you know, a great way I thought to bond with people, you know, if I share personal things and they share personal things, and it's a great way to get to know other people. But I think I put too much trust in people. I believed they had more integrity than they did. And I've learned now that it is important to have great discretion and to choose your friends very, very carefully and very wisely. And I will say, though, I learned who my true friends were, and that is an invaluable lesson, you know?
Absolutely.
It's, and my gosh, the love I have for my friends, my real friends, the people that have stuck by me through all that, it's you can't even measure the appreciation
Absolutely.
and love that I have for them. So I think, you know, you're meant to kind of have bad fake friends so that you can learn to appreciate the good ones. So,
Absolutely.
but that was definitely a mistake of mine that I thankfully learned kind of quickly. You know, I mean, I'm still pretty young, and I learned it a while ago, but I can see that, you know. And then yeah, and other mistakes. I pursued when I was younger. I mean, I don't like to ever say they're mistakes, because I really feel like I'm on the path I was supposed
They're,
to be on,
they're-
but I just
right, right.
look back.
Lessons. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was applying to college, I did not know anything about college. My parents had not graduated from college at that time. My mom did eventually go get her degree. She has 2 degrees now, but so I was sort of, you know,
That's awesome.
first generation college student, but trying to navigate it myself. My guidance counselor was not very helpful. At the time, you know, I was a top student, not like valedictorian, but I was a top student in National Honor Society, straight A's the whole way. And I just really did not know much about colleges. I tried to research them, but I mean, at the time, we didn't even have like the internet at my house. So I'd be going over friends' houses that had it, trying to research and learn about it. I wanted to go to school for architecture. So I knew I always wanted to write, but I figured I could just write on the side. I wanted to have a career where I could write when I graduate, get hired, and be making money, and then writing books on the side. So my favorite college was Princeton. I loved Princeton. And thankfully, from my SAT scores and stuff like that, I ended up getting multiple interviews with Princeton, and I got an interview with MIT and Cornell, and, you know, all these amazing, amazing schools. And Princeton was my top choice. And I mean, the interviews went so great, and they were really interested in me for writing, because they said, you know, the architecture program is just a little bit too selective, but what about switching your major to writing? And I did not understand the value of an Ivy League degree at that time. And I just remember at my age, I was 16, right? 16 years old, thinking, well, what am I going to do with a degree in writing? Like, I can't make money to live off of as an author starting out. Like, I don't want to be a journalist. Like, I don't like writing about true, you know, stories and
Yeah.
things like that. And I was like, that just sounds like I'm setting myself up to fail. And I had nobody in my life to give me that guidance, you know? So I didn't do that. And I do sometimes look back at that and wonder, where would my life have been if I'd done that? That was my dream school, but
So,
anyway, I ended up getting like a full scholarship to college. I went to Wentworth. It's local. I wanted to stay in Massachusetts, and I had a wonderful, wonderful college experience. So I do think things happen for a reason, but I don't know if that would be a mistake. It's funny because now I'm a college counselor. I know so much about like every school in the country, and I'm just like, it's what I wish I knew. And that's what I always try to tell my students. It's like I want them to know what I didn't know so they can make the most informed decisions, because there was nobody there to help me, and it wasn't my parents' fault. They just didn't know either. And that's, I think, probably a huge reason why I'm a college counselor today, is because I know what it was like to go through it alone and to not know. And I just want my students to not go through that.
yeah. So let me ask you this: as far as the not the knowledge, what made you think that being a book writer wasn't going to make you money? I mean, like, who put that in your mindset to think that? Because that mindset really changed the trajectory of where you could have been. Not that there's nothing wrong where you're at, but I'm just saying you must have had somebody I mean, what was that mindset? What made you think that publishing or writing books or going for that degree would be bad? I mean,
Yeah. So I had met with a lot of authors, like they would come to my school and stuff and spoken with them about it. And I mean, the truth is, in publishing and in writing, you make like $1.50 a book. There's no money in it. I mean, there is if you sell 1 million copies, but it's got to be something you do for a passion.
right.
And that was true. So I had spoken with authors and learned that truth, and I'm grateful for that, because that is true. I mean, when I was traditionally published with my series, I'll tell you, full transparency, my grip books, my gripped one was published through my other publisher. I got 25 cents a copy that sold, because when you are traditionally published, you make like 10% royalties. So there were some of my other books where it was a little bit more than that, maybe $1.50 a copy. So I do Briley and Baxter publications a little bit different. And I give my authors the chance, with a variety of different contracts, I give them a chance to earn up to like 75% or 80% of their royalties, because I just don't think that's fair.
Oh, well, it's sad because, like, everybody says, oh, you should write a book and you should write a book. And I mean, I guess at 55 now, all my friends have books and I got to get my ass going on writing my book, I mean, I know, but it's funny how, the reality of it, but yet it's pristine to have a book, you know what I mean? Like, I I don't get that when you think about it, but again, you've got to really want to write what you want in order to make it successful. But yeah, having that truth of what you can make in a book and realize you don't do it for the money, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah.
But it's more valuable than money, because it is so fulfilling to know I'm writing books that help people.
Right. Yeah.
It's fun. It's also super fun thing to do. So, I mean, you're living the stories of your characters as you're writing them. So it's, it really is like my favorite hobby, and I've been able to turn it into a career. So yeah.
Is your publishing do you publish just specific kind of titles, or are you publishing like everybody and anybody, or what? Like, let's say I want to do a book and I just went to Amazon, but what if I wanted to have you publish it? I mean, you doing self biographies or memoirs or?
Yep. We published a memoir recently about a missionary in Uganda. I'm working
Nice.
with a couple authors right now that wrote self-help books, a lot of like parenting books. We're doing children's books, like Amy, when she was just on. She's doing an adorable children's book that will be coming out soon. And then young adult, there's lots of inspirational, adventure, science fiction, all different types. So what authors do is they submit a query to me and I review it. And then if I want to see the manuscript, I'll ask for the manuscript. And then I pass it off to one of my editors, who writes like a chapter by chapter summary for me to review. And then I review it. And then from there, decide if I want to offer the author a contract or not. And then we go through negotiations and do all that. And then if they do want to move forward with publishing, then the process begins.
Aw. Well, thank you, Tracy, for saying this about Stacy. Stacy. There we go. Stacy, you're an incredible young lady. So impressive. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm pretty impressed with you too. Gosh, we're almost out of time here, girl.
right.
It's just been super, super fun with you. And let me see. I wanted to ask you. Um, I gotta ask you this question.
Okay.
I just gotta find it. Okay. What books recommendations do you think have been impactful in your life?
The Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis is the most amazing book ever. I don't know if you read a lot of C.S. Lewis, but he is absolutely brilliant. For anyone who just loves to think and think very deeply, he's mind blowing. So the Screw Tape Letters is about spiritual warfare. So it is written from the standpoint of an uncle demon who is writing. It's kind of a satire, and he's writing his nephew demon letters about how to harass humans and play with our minds. The life lessons in that book are mind blowing. I'm actually teaching a study on it now, but that book I read
What's the name
multiple.
of it
The,
again?
the Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis. So, he wrote like the Chronicles of Narnia. And I mean, he's a mere Christianity. Like, he has just amazing books. But that book changed my life. It set me free from so many thoughts. Like, prior to reading that book, I used to be so future focused, and I didn't know how to just live in the day and just focus on what is. And I was always just trying to figure out how things were going to turn out. And
Because you write books.
yeah, and that book set me free from that and gave me so much peace once I learned to just focus on what's real, what's present, and get through every single day doing what I think is right, and then trusting the future is going to end up fine. I have so like 100 times more peace and happiness and joy. That book is life changing.
Oh, I love that. Gosh, girl, you are amazing. You made it just so enjoyable. I can't even you're so talented. You're so beautiful, and you're an amazing light, and definitely people need to get to know you, and the passion you have for what you're writing and what you're doing is just amazing. And I'm gonna stick around to be watching front row here. And when you publish your other stuff, I'd be happy to have you come back and
Sure.
share your knowledge, and especially if you have those little sequels. I mean, that preview that you had was great. I mean,
Thanks.
does that preview have a lot to do with the whole? Did it gravitate? I mean, verbatim how your books are? You think?
I mean, that definitely is indicative of Taylor's journey and
Mhm.
what he's going through, especially by the time you get to Gript 4. Oh, there's Briley. He's still here.
Nice.
So
Aw. Well, I've got another show to do here, so I've got to go here, and I'm gonna do the intro video again here so everybody can see how sweet and beautiful you are. But thank you everyone for being here, watching this. Share it out because she's just amazing, and it's impactful. I have a feeling I'm going to buy these series for my grandson. He's 11 right now, so I mean he's a little young, but in a couple years, holy cow, invaluable series. So I really appreciate it. I love you. Hold on. And you guys have a great day.